Hello and welcome to video 2 of our series. In this video, we're going to be looking at finding central ideas through annotation. Let's look at our objectives for this video. After watching this video, you should be able to identify and analyze the development of a central idea in a nonfiction multi-paragraph text. Our last video only focused on single paragraph texts. Also, after this video, you should be able to understand the purpose and usefulness of annotating text. So, what is annotation? It's a very useful little tool. Let's dive into it. Annotating is adding notes to a text for a particular reason. Often these reasons will be things such as analysis. Perhaps you're, like we're going to be looking here, looking for central ideas. You may be looking for different symbolism. You could be looking for certain vocabulary words, or even examining the syntax of a text. You could be annotating to help you understand the text, especially if you have a more complex text. You may have to write notes and things like that in the margins. It also helps to show that you've been engaged with the text. As you're reading, there are questions that pop up into your head, and you can note those questions down for later discussions, or even to use them as a bouncing point to learn something new about the text. You can also use annotations to summarize. So as you've read a chunk of text in the margin, you can write down what it says so you don't have to reread it later if you need a reference back to the text. Annotating is a very useful tool, especially when you are trying to find something complex, like the development of a central idea. All right, so I have for you a recording of me annotating a text. You should have a copy of this text. Follow along with the annotations as the video progresses. It is a 4-paragraph article over the hidden cost of fast fashion. I walk you through the annotation process and also show you how I discover what the central or main idea is in the essay and how that essay develops it. I will show you how to annotate this 4-paragraph article right here, as we are trying to find the main idea or the central idea. Those terms are interchangeable. So when you're annotating with a purpose, and our purpose for this one, of course, is finding that main idea or the central idea. Of course, you don't have to have that as your particular purpose, and maybe you're looking for sentence structure, maybe you're looking for vocabulary usage. It could be anything. Annotating helps with that. So let's dive into this one a little bit. I'm going to think aloud as I annotate this to help you see the process. Okay, so our title here, of course, as I said in the first video, title is important in determining the main idea. We know that this text is going to be about the hidden cost of fast fashion. So off the bat, I know that my central idea is going to be something about fast fashion and whatever these hidden costs are. I get that from the title. So those are clues for the central idea. Okay. Let's see. Every year, billions of garments are produced, consumed, and discarded at an alarming rate. That word right there, alarming, is important. It's a negative word. So we know that our author maybe has something negative to say here. This phenomenon, known as fast fashion, has revolutionized the clothing industry, offering trendy apparel at affordable prices. Well, that's positive there. However, okay, here's my transition that tells me we're going from this positive thing to a negative thing here. This, however, is our contrast. Beneath the surface of this seemingly convenient industry lies a significant environmental and ethical cost. So this is what I've told you guys about yesterday is a thesis statement. So this is what this text is going to explore. Now we need to read a little bit more. We have to read these paragraphs to determine exactly what the author is stating about this, but we know they're going to be focusing on this environmental and ethical cost. The paragraphs will tell us what those environmental costs are and what those ethical costs are. And whatever the answer is to what those are is going to go into our main idea. All right. Paragraph 2. Fast fashion relies on the mass production of inexpensive clothing, often made with synthetic materials like polyester. These materials take hundreds of years to decompose, contributing to overflowing landfills and microplastic pollution in oceans. So here's our problem here. We have overflowing landfills and microplastic pollution. So that's what this fast fashion is causing. That is our environmental impact there. Furthermore, the production process is energy intensive, releasing greenhouse gases that accelerate climate change. So there's another problem. Okay? So that's where we get the environmental. So it's negatively hurting the environment. Paragraph 3. The impact of fast fashion extends beyond the environment. So that's a nice transition sentence there. Just side note. Many of the factories that produce these garments are located in developing countries where workers endure, that's an important vocab word there, we have low wages, unsafe conditions, excessive hours. So there's the ethical cost there. So this is the ethical problem. While fast fashion brands promote the idea of accessible luxury, the true price is paid by underprivileged communities and the planet. Right, so there's where we have that ethical. Now we're getting into our conclusion. Consumers hold the power to change the cycle. So this is kind of like a call here. This is a major thing. This consumers hold the power to change the cycle, because that's what they're telling us. So we have this environmental ethical cost, and this is what they want to be done with it. Choosing sustainable brands, purchasing secondhand clothing, and embracing minimalism are small steps that can collectively make a big difference. And so these are our how to help. By rethinking our habits, we can move towards a future where fashion doesn't come at the cost of humanity or the earth. So I have broken down, my thesis tells me most of the main idea, and then we get the key details through here. So when I formulate my central idea, I need to be a little bit more specific than what it's given me. So let's see, what can we state that the central idea is? It's going to be close to this thesis, but it's going to be a little bit more specific. So I could write, I want to make sure I mention that it's fast fashion. Okay, so fast fashion. And I'm going to mention what they've said. So we have pollution and we have climate change. So I'm going to put that it contributes to pollution and climate change. So that's my first paragraph. Well, the second paragraph. So this one's from paragraph 2, the pollution and climate change. And how can I word this? Let's see. I'm having that they endure low wages, unsafe conditions, and excessive hours. And is made by workers who have to suffer from poor work environments. That kind of sums up the low wages, unsafe conditions, excessive hours. I don't want to like say all that word for word. Poor work environments. But I also want to mention that, so there's my paragraph 3 stuff. Now I got to get my 4th paragraph. It says consumers have the power to change this cycle. But, and again, that's my contrast. This is the bad stuff, but we can make it better. Consumers can help. And you can sum up this ways to help here by saying consumers can help by avoiding fast fashion in favor of more sustainable clothing options and habits. So the clothing options would be the sustainable brands, and then purchasing secondhand clothing and embracing minimalism would be those habits. So I've reduced this 4 paragraphs down to this 1 sentence here, and it's quite a long sentence, but we want to make sure that when we're stating what the central idea is, we've covered everything. So I've got my information from paragraph 2, 3, and 4, and they're all pretty much, you want to even, kind of like the teeter-totter, you want to keep it balanced here. So I don't have more information from one paragraph than the other in my central idea. I've taken just the main points made out of those. And you notice that I don't have specific details there. I'm not giving full quotes. I'm just pulling the most important information out of that. So this would be the central idea of this article. All right, so now you're going to get your own article, and you are going to use this annotation technique alongside of a graphic organizer to determine the main idea of your new article. So I hope that this has clarified some, and that this has helped you figure out how to find the central or main idea of a text. Of course, as they get longer, they get a little bit more complicated, and so yesterday you've done the 1 paragraph, and now we moved on to an actual article. So, happy learning, guys.